Okay, let's just dive right into the absolute avalanche of headlines from the 78th Primetime Emmy Awards nominations. I mean, television's biggest morning did not disappoint. We're talking staggering statistics, fierce corporate rivalries, and honestly, some major shocks. So today, we're unpacking all the data and the drama behind this year's historic contenders to give you the ultimate breakdown of the TV landscape. Let's get into it. The sheer magnitude of this first number is just staggering. 25. That is how many nominations HBO Max's gripping medical drama The Pitt pulled in for its second season. It completely dominated the morning, making it the most nominated show of the entire year. Pulling in 25 nods across acting, directing, writing, and technical categories, that is a monumental achievement. It basically proves this show is the current undisputed heavyweight champion of television. But right on its heels is another massive figure. 24 nominations for Hacks. This actually sets a brand new all-time record for the most nominations ever received by a comedy series in a single season. As Hacks enters its fifth and final season, it managed to beat out previous record holders like The Bear and The Studio, which had both peaked at 23. Talk about a spectacular send-off for a beloved veteran comedy, right? So, to make sense of this massive roster, here's how we're breaking down today's explainer. First, we'll look at the record breakers. Then we'll dive into the streaming platform wars, followed by the heavyweights of drama, the comedy category clash, and finally, everyone's favorite, the surprises and major snubs. Kicking things off with part one, the record breakers, and their historic highs at the 78th Emmys. What's really fascinating here is the incredible contrast between our top two record breakers. On one side, you've got The Pitt, which is this intense, unflinching medical drama leading the overall pack. And on the other, you have Hacks, a super sharp, hilarious veteran comedy shattering the all-time comedy record. It really shows that Emmy loaders are currently rewarding just absolute peak execution right now, whether that's in high-stakes hospital trauma or the cutthroat world of stand-up comedy. Moving on to part two, let's look at the streaming platform wars and the corporate battlefield behind the shows. HBO Max retains the absolute crown here with 122 nominations, obviously heavily fueled by The Pitt and Hacks. Netflix is right behind them, keeping the pressure on with 111. But honestly, Apple TV is the real story here. They surged to their highest count ever with 87 nods. For you watching at home, what this means is the center of gravity for prestige TV is rapidly shifting. It's expanding well beyond the traditional stalwarts, signaling that you're going to be seeing a whole lot more from Apple's incredibly strong library. Before we break down the drama heavyweights and answer exactly who will dominate those categories, please take a quick second to like this explainer, follow our channel, and share this with your TV watch party group so we can keep making these deep dives for you. All right, part three, heavyweights of drama, the showdown. When you look at the best drama contenders, it is a slate that just perfectly balances returning legacy hits like The Gilded Age and The Diplomat with these massive, buzzy freshman series like Apple TV's twisty newcomer Pluribus. It really highlights how diverse the drama landscape is right now. We've got political thrillers, period pieces, fantasy spinoffs, and intense medical procedurals all competing for the exact same top prize. Also in the mix are Slow Horses, Paradise, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and Your Friends and Neighbors. What a lineup! A massive standout story in the drama race this year is Noah Weil. He earned dual nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor and Directing for The Pet, getting recognized both in front of and behind the camera for an intense 25-nomination juggernaut is exceedingly rare. It is a true testament to the creative control and vision he's bringing to the series. The lead actress and series races are going to be so fascinating to watch. We've got reliable political thrillers facing off against critically acclaimed newcomers. Take The Diplomat, our returning favorite with a powerhouse-nominated performance by Kerry Russell. It is going head-to-head with Pluribus, Apple TV's massive freshman hit that pulled in 18 nominations, heavily fueled by an incredible nominated performance from Rhea Seehorn. It's literally the establishment versus the hot new arrival. Next up, part four. The comedy category clash, laughs and legacy. The comedy field is incredibly diverse this year. It is moving way beyond the traditional multicam sitcom. Sure, we have network stalwarts like Abbott Elementary, but the category has expanded to embrace everything from the anxiety-inducing Kitchens of the Bear to outright horror formats, along with shows like Margot's Got Money Troubles, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, and Shrinking. It's a really fascinating look at how the very definition of comedy on television just keeps evolving. The central clash in this category pits the reigning royalty against the new kids on the block. You have Hacks, with its record-breaking 24 nominations in its final season, standing strong against a huge surge of late-season momentum from Apple TV's Widow's Bay. This terrifyingly funny freshman run intentionally aired its finale right in the middle of the Emmy voting period. They totally took advantage of how industry voting works to perfectly fuel their incredible haul of 19 nominations. Smart move on their part. And looking at the acting races, we literally cannot overstate the historic stakes for Jean Smart this year. A win would firmly cement her as one of the most decorated actors in television history. If she takes home the trophy, it'll be her 5th win just for playing Deborah Vance on Hacks, and her 8th Emmy overall. That would tie the record for the actress with the most Emmy acting wins in history. When you're watching the broadcast, this is absolutely the monumental career milestone to look out for.
Finally, Part 5. Surprises and major snubs. The morning shocks.
Because, of course, an Emmy nominations morning isn't complete without some controversy. While massive hits were celebrated, others were left out in the cold. Sydney Sweeney, who was previously nominated for Euphoria, surprisingly missed out on a nod for the show's 3rd and final season. Similarly shocking was the major acting snub for Jeremy Allen White in The Bear. But honestly, perhaps the most interesting case is Heated Rivalry. This breakout hit didn't get snubbed by voters. It was completely sidelined by complex eligibility rules because it was financed outside the United States. It swept the Canadian Screen Awards, but you won't see it at the Emmys. Wild, right? All of this incredible data, the corporate rivalries, and the heartbreaking snubs all culminate on Monday, September 14th. And definitely note that date shift. It actually moved from its usual Sunday slot due to an NFL game. Network icon Mariska Hargitay, who, by the way, is starting her incredible 28th season of Law & Order SVU and is the first woman to host in 15 years, will take the stage at the Peacock Theater to guide us through the results of these fierce battles. So, looking at these staggering numbers, the meteoric rise of Apple TV, the historic finale for Hacks, and the sheer dominance of the Pitt, jump into the comments and let me know, which of these heavyweights do you think is actually going to walk away with the ultimate crown? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.